Greetings, everybody. Well, as you'll be well aware, last night the president announced that from next week we'll be able to use our church building to gather in groups of up to 50. And I must say, we see this as a clear answer to prayer. So as a leadership team, we're excited to be able to gather together to worship God. But it must be said, we are also very aware of the responsibility that we have to use our new freedoms with wisdom and with safety, always staying within the proper guidelines. Going into full lockdown, guys, that was the easy thing. It was hard to accept, but easy to implement, actually. As far as implementation, it was easy. And conversely, starting and coming out of the lockdown is easy to accept. It's like, yahoo, but it's very hard to implement. And so as we celebrate this lifting of restrictions and meeting together, we ask you to approach the limited gatherings with care, guys, and with proper protocols. We are fully committed, won't you know, we're fully committed to making use of our freedoms with wisdom. And we're working really hard behind the scenes to make sure that the hygiene standards, every hygiene standard actually, is adhered to inside of that building. At this point, none of us know exactly how often we're able to meet in our building or what the detailed requirements are for our gatherings. And actually, we're waiting for more clarity on these things, and we want to avoid any unconfirmed speculation. So in the coming days, we're going to map out the way forward that we're going to be organizing ourselves, but that only that'll only be able to come as we find out more information. So we're in close and regular contact with Freedom of Religion South Africa. We've been at the forefront of appealing to the government and are making details known to churches as they are released. And so we have reliable ways of knowing the freedoms on and our restrictions during this time. We want to say this, that we're very grateful to 4SA for the work the guys are doing, and we keep looking to them actually for legal guidance going forward. So let's say it again, like we're really excited to be able to meet again, but we are also very aware of the responsibilities and the challenges that lie ahead, and that every one of us we're going to need to carry the same commitment, guys, in helping each other by acting with the proper care and the proper wisdom. So yeah, let's gear up, man. But entering the new month, we know it's going to mean business people going back to business. Business is going to reopen in a bigger way, and they're going to need new faith and strategies even as they do that. And so we've also got one or two testimonies from some business people in the life of the church, just to encourage you by way of their own personal journeys with the Lord in these times and how they're walking things out in faith with God.
So as a real estate agent and a business owner, things have been quite tough, and it's been just like a strain on finances, and with that strain and that downturn has come a lot of needs. And so I felt myself going to the Lord with a lot of needs, in the sense of like, Lord, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I call them like ATM prayers, almost shopping lists of things that I would like the Lord to do. And I've just felt a strain in terms of my relationship with the Lord, because I'm keep going in to ask Him for stuff, rather than building on my relationship and connect. And so I just thought, okay, instead of me going to the Lord asking for all kinds of stuff, I just want to spend good quality time with Him. And so I just changed it and just started spending time in worship and just soaking in His presence, allowing worship songs just to minister to me, and going to Him with just like wanting to be in His presence. And it's just been so refreshing to just see how the Lord has just comforted me and almost given me peace with a lot of things I've been praying for. And so even though those prayers might not have been answered, I've got confidence in the Lord that He is faithful, just because I've been going to Him with spending just good quality time with Him. It's just been so refreshing.
Hey guys, so the last 9 weeks have felt like a roller coaster ride for me in terms of business. So there have been some highs, but there's also been some incredible lows. And I've had to realize that I cannot remain or dwell in that place of negativity when I'm going through one of those down times, because it's almost like that fear cripples me. And if I remain in it for too long, I find it very difficult to motivate myself and to do what I need to do. So what I'll do is I'll get up, I'll go into the garden, do something constructive in the garden. I will fix something on the house. I will go for a walk. I'll go for a run, anything to keep my mind occupied. Also, my natural inclination is to almost want to alienate myself when I'm going through a bad patch. And God warns us against that. So for me, what I'll do is I'll pick up the phone, I'll phone somebody, and I'll try and be an encourager to that person. and in that way feel encouraged myself. Also, I'll switch on some worship music and just get lost in worship, because worship is an opposite spirit to fear, and I just find that helps me greatly. Also, the reality is that I can only be diligent with what God has given me right now. So I cannot plan for too far in the future, but I can plan for the next 30 minutes. The reality of the situation is that it's bigger than us, but it's not bigger than God's plans that He has for our lives.
So off the back of the last year and a half since starting holiday, COVID, like I suppose with a lot of people, came at a terrible time. First year of business, having to learn some serious school fees, already not on like a strong foot maybe, but and then COVID came and it was almost devastating, if not for the Lord. So the 2 months have been difficult with regards to staffing, having to make amends there for others, practical things like claiming UIF. It's been a real challenge for us, so we are concerned for some of our staff. And I've come back in a capacity by myself and opened the doors. I've been fortunate enough in the last week. Our first week was amazing, really well supported by the community and our locals. But this week, slow again, and just kind of going, Lord, you've got this. I know you do. And He's seen us through that. He's provided for us in the past. And we have seen favor. And I'm having to really, every single day, as I walk in here and dig deep in the Lord and ask Him for His provision, like daily provision for me, for my business. And we know He's got this. And as a family, He's got us, and He's building this thing. And we are grateful for that. But there have been challenges in this season, but we're hopeful. We're very hopeful in what the Lord's going to do.
How much courage do you get from listening to testimonies like that? Just people who are feeling that raw emotion in and out, day in, day out, the highs and the lows of our emotions and our thought life when we hit difficult times, and yet they are choosing to praise the Lord and choosing to worship Him in these times, and finding the Lord in these difficult times. Speaking about those who are finding this time very, very difficult, we'd like to just give a shout out to all those of you who gave towards our brothers and sisters in the churches in Zimbabwe. 14,000 Rand came in after just one call was made on our midweek news segment. And I just want to say well done to all of you. We're going to hear from Wilma Ray. He's going to give us a brief report and a thank you to all of those of you who gave. And also we're going to hear from Neville in Zimbabwe, who's a church leader on the ground amongst a group of churches that are part of our 412 field. Let's hear from them.
Hi there, Oxygen Lifers, Wilma Ray, Cape Town. You wonderful bunch of believers stirring up the ingredients of the kingdom. And I just want to give a brief feedback on Zimbabwe. I want to say firstly, thank you. Thank you for your compassion, your love. Those of you who have assisted financially, it's been absolutely wonderful. Just heard from Nicholas and from Neville in Harare, but now Nicholas down in Masvinga, that's halfway between Harare and our border bridge when we cross over into Zims, that they've now been able to, with the help we've given them, support 5 of their churches. And I want to say, without the help that's coming from the supporting and partnering churches, they're in very dire straits. He just shared with me that some of the folk, the elderly folk, and some children have been found, they were found dead in their little kayas, in their homes. And this is why they've stopped lockdown and they've opened everything up so folks could get to be with these elderly and the young children who have such dire needs. And so I want to say thank you. We've been a lifeline to these folk. God richly bless you, encourage you, and the measure you measure out, may He measure it back to you. Amen. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Neville Sandama. I'm an elder in Joshua Generation Church, Harare, Zimbabwe. The situation here in Zimbabwe has been really tensy and very bad. We have seen some families going for days without food. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Oxygen Life for unwavering support. Thank you very much for the food parcels that have blessed us, and I also want to thank all 412 partnering churches as well for your great support. Thank you very much in this time of hardships that you have been coming through and helping us with food. We are really grateful.
Wow. It's kind of like you just don't know what to say when you hear of the plight of some people. let us continue to be those who respond from our hearts, not only to those in other countries, but even those in our own city and our own church family. So an exciting announcement is this Saturday from 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock Sunday, we're going to be having 24 hours of worship, where we're going to be having 1 hour slots of most of our worship leaders leading a slot, and we're looking for you to just join with us as we worship God together and trust to have real sweet times of encountering the Lord, and also just prayer and worship as we trust Him for an outpouring of His Spirit on our lives, on the lives of the believers in the city, and even that many, many, many in the nations of the world will come to faith as we expect and anticipate a mass outpouring of the Spirit upon the nations of the world. Come and worship God with us on our Facebook page live. You'll be redirected to another page, but go to Oxygen Life Facebook and you'll see one of our worship leaders leading a time of worship there. Come and join us. Let's join together as we worship our God. That's all for today. Remember, with God, all things are possible.